welcome to Hashtag Toe to Toe. My name is Leanne Johnson-Arnison and I'm joined, as always, by Spencer Fearon and this week, Spencer Oliver. How are you doing, Spencer?
Really good, thanks.
Good. We'll get straight into it. We've got lots of tweets reacting off the Mayweather-McGregor fight that happened at the weekend. First one's first, Alex McFadden, is Floyd the best ever? Spencer Fearon, you can take this one.
He's the best businessman ever. He's the best man at ever getting opponents at the right time. I think he's learnt from the greats of the past, like Sugar Ray Leonard, like Marvin Hagler, like Muhammad Ali. He's learnt from these guys. So I would say he's the best businessman of all time because he's amassed nearly $1 billion now. That's unheard of, right? Yeah. So when it comes to that, he's the best. And like, he's up there. I wouldn't say that he's the greatest of all time, but I would say that he's one of the greats. You know what I mean? And other people could argue, but I'd say he's one of the greats. His guy's been superb.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the greatest fighter of modern times. But I think if there's always going to be a debate if you're talking about, you know, in the history books, when you go back to days of Leonard Hagler, Duran, Hearns, you know, all these fighters could fight. Wilfred Benitez, they could all fight. So, greatest of all time, I'm not so sure, but I think greatest of modern times, yeah.
Danny Horton has tweeted in, if Floyd were to make it to 51, which opponent makes him the most money?
Anthony Joshua. I'm being
that
real.
would be a fight everyone wants to see.
Me and Ed Robertson just had this conversation. It'll be Anthony Joshua.
He's got to eat a lot of McDonald's meat before he boxes Anthony Joshua.
He could do it.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one because if you look at the champions now that are around, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Jeff Horn, Lamont Peterson, I mean, these guys are not big enough names to earn him the sort of money that he's just generated against Conor McGregor. Yeah, he'd have to fight someone of that, you know, the winner of Triple G, Canelo. Pacquiao still hovering around, that may generate a lot of money, but I think the current champions at the moment wouldn't make him the money that he would demand.
Spencer?
I would say him to fight Triple G. If Triple G was to beat Canelo, I'm not too sure that Triple G will beat Canelo. It's an excellent fight coming up soon. But I would say, on the reels, I wouldn't even want to see Floyd Mayweather fight 50-51 because he looked below par to me. Absolutely. On the weekend. And certain shots that he was missing with, when we've seen Floyd miss with shots, I know like other guys could capitalize on it. Like, I don't think you could have fought like that against someone like Terence Crawford or Errol Spence. No. I think you'd have a nightmare with those. And Keith Thurman can punch. Floyd Mayweather's been a great ambassador for the sport, of the sport itself. I don't care about his extracurricular activities, but as he's been for the sport and how to be persistently consistent, he has shown that hard work, dedication, his mantra. Give it that, don't do 51 fights.
Yeah, I think on the evidence of what we saw Saturday night, I think that he was 50 and out. I don't think he'll fight again. He's not stupid either. I think that he realises maybe the fight's left him. That was probably the easiest payday and the biggest payday that he'll ever have. And it's time to go. I think that every fighter reaches their day, and I think on the evidence of what we saw on Saturday, I think it was clear to see that Floyd was not really a patch on what he was 3 or 4 years ago, and although he dominated the fight and won it clearly in my eyes, I think after a couple of rounds he sort of worked McGregor out, and it was evident really. I thought he was really carrying him through the fight. I think that he was making a show for the fans. I think that he could have taken McGregor out at any point after 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, because you said he was missing a couple of shots. Do you not think that he was just doing that to make a bit of entertainment for the fans that were watching?
No, I don't.
No? No,
seriously, I think for the first 2 rounds I gave to Conor McGregor. I was like, the first round Conor McGregor hit him with a proper right uppercut. Left uppercut it was, and I was worried. I was like, what's going on here?
Now, I'll tell you why I think that happened, though. I think that happened because I think that Mayweather knew going into this fight, as we all did, it was the unknown because you had the MMA fighter, the best in the UFC, fighting the best pound-for-pound boxer of modern times. And I think it was that unknown going in. But I think when the fight had kicked off, I think that Mayweather took the fight maybe a little lightly, switched off a bit, got caught with a shot, and I think that was for him then to switch on. You know what it's like going back in the day when you box and you go into a fight knowing that you're on paper 99% sure you're going to win. You don't have the same mindset, and I think Mayweather just took his eye off the game for a little bit, got caught with a shot, and then switched it on, turned it around, and like I say, from round 3 on, really, he looked like when you're playing with a fighter and he was just walking down, he didn't have to box at 100% of his game, so you make fundamental mistakes when you do that. And I think that was what was happening with Mayweather.
100%.
Where he was going maybe 50-60% of what he can actually do. He was like falling short with right hands. He was making little fundamental mistakes, and I think that was the problem in Mayweather's performance, is that because he was having it so easy, he was having it so his own way, he was making them mistakes, but he knew if he made them mistakes, he wasn't going to get penalised for it.
Jordan's actually asked, should Conor have emptied the tank in the first 2 rounds and just gone straight for the knockout?
I think that it's not that he emptied the tank in the first 2 rounds. I think he was giving it everything right from the opening bell, but where they were levels apart, it just sucked the life out of him straight away. And he'd never boxed in a boxing ring before, which is totally different to where he comes from. And I think he found that out. Forget all the sparring you can do. Spenny will back me up on this. When you spar in a gym, you can spar. If you're fighting a 6-round fight, you can spar 12 rounds, 15 rounds at times. When you do that 6-rounder, it's 4 times as hard as when you're sparring 12 rounds in the gym, because you've got the added pressure, the occasion, the event. And I think that was clearly evident to see when McGregor boxed. After 2 rounds, he was totally gone, like nothing left. I think by the time we reached 4 or 5, it was a case of like, he had nothing in his punches. It was just sheer heart and determination getting him through. He done well to survive the distance, but I believe that was a lot to do with Mayweather allowing him to go there.
Do you think that Conor should have tried to go for the knockout in the earlier rounds?
No, because I think then you would have seen Floyd Mayweather. You saw, we've never ever seen in 49 fights of Floyd Mayweather never do a shoulder. Didn't do no shoulder roll. We didn't see Floyd Mayweather dance. Floyd Mayweather was walking straight ahead, or he'll back up. And he'll back up and he'll go to the ropes. So this is just proof to you that, as Spenny was saying, Floyd went there with like 60% of his game plan, but a lot of the 60% could be also to the fact that he's 40 years old. Yeah. And the things that he wants to do, he can't do anymore. Like he was saying, and I'm going to allude to it, Floyd Mayweather was saying, listen, I'm not who the fighter I was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But the fighter I am today will still be enough to deal with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, absolutely.
People bought into the hype, and fair play to people who did buy into the hype. And like I'm saying, I think Conor McGregor left with a lot of credit, because we thought Conor McGregor, me personally, I thought this will end whenever Floyd wants it to end. So for him to go 10 rounds, he's had a moral victory.
Yeah.
So we got to clap him. And he has become the Jeremy Corbyn of boxing, because Jeremy Corbyn won the election, but he kind of had a moralistic win, and that's what Conor McGregor did.
Totally agree.
Connor Sherry has tweeted in, do you think Conor was overtrained and that's why he gassed out so quick, or that he just had a bad engine?
No, I think that it didn't have a bad engine and he didn't overtrain. I think he was just totally out of his depth. That's what we've alluded to in previous conversations just then. He was totally out of his depth. He'd never been in the boxing ring, totally different to where he come from, and he found that out there. Nothing to do with overtraining, nothing to do with anything else. He was just, yeah.
James Frame has tweeted in, what's your opinion on advice given in McGregor's corner? Seems Paulie Malignaggi was on the money, just a bunch of yes men.
No, I'm sorry, I got to disagree with what Paulie Malignaggi. I think they're a bunch of yes men when he's in training. Maybe I could understand that. You understand? This is how it goes when you're dealing with the regalia of superstardom, right? You got to be a little bit of a yes man, right? But I'm saying in the fight, no, because their game plan, I wish they had some boxing people in his corner.
We've got to remember all the stuff that was going on with Paulie Malignaggi and Conor McGregor as well. So anything Paulie could do to get in, to have a dig at McGregor, he was going to do anyway. Yeah. So, he's going to say, oh yeah, there's yes men there. We all saw what happened with Malignaggi and the build-up. It sort of, it was a big thing. So Paulie was always going to say that. But I just think that he was out of his depth, and it didn't matter what the corner said to him. He couldn't do anything about it. He was boxing one of the world's greatest.
Tony Jones has asked, can boxers learn how to make weight from MMA? Conor was massive.
No. You know why I'm going to say this? Because listen, no. This guy used to, listen, let me tell you this. I remember like at the Lion Boxing Club, and we're going 20 years ago now. We're going 1997. 20 years ago. I remember you coming to the gym, and that's the day I realized to myself that I don't train hard. Because I saw then he was nicknamed the Omen. He should have been nicknamed the Demon, because how he was training, I said, what kind of sorcery training is this? He was like, it was mad. No, because I think a lot of weight making is a lot of it's got to do with how you deal with things psychologically. Because as much as we say, how you make weight, Conor McGregor was massive in the weight, but yet you still gassed out. right? And I'm not even saying that Conor McGregor gassed out because it was a boxing ring, because we saw this in the Nate Diaz fight when he's fighting.
Also,
he gassed out.
Also, the fight was made at 154, and McGregor in his last UFC fight weighed 155. So, 170. But the fight before he weighed 155, and the fight before that he won 145. So, it's not like he not boxed at that weight before. He'd just been going up and down the weights. Competing at that weight in UFC. So he has done it before. So he looked 2 weight divisions above Mayweather on the night come fight nights. Yes, he does drain down, but I think that look through the history of boxing of modern times, and we see so many fighters doing it now. So I don't think weight really was the issue of why he gassed out.
Okay, moving on. Box Chat 24/7. How good can Badou Jack get? The guy seems to be improving every fight.
He's very good. I was impressed with him on a weekend, and he's very methodical. Like I'm saying to you, like he's not a 10 in any of his categories, right? He's like 7.5s, 8s, but if you total them all up, he's very complete.
Do you know what he's like? Complete. He's like, not stylistically, but like what's his name? Joe Calzaghe. Yeah. So Joe Calzaghe didn't look great, but no one could beat him. So whatever he'd done, so they're not stylistically the same. But what I'm saying is, with Badou Jack, he just does. Everything he does good, yeah. But he's not exceptional at anything, and he's very difficult to beat. Very difficult to beat, and I think that was shown there. But Cleverly, to be fair, really, I think his best days were well behind him. We didn't see too much from Cleverly, apart from that he can take a good shot. Because I think Badou Jack just systematically broke him down, done what he had to do, which maybe made him look better than he actually is. We still don't know that at the moment, because we need to see him in with the big names like Adonis Stevenson, Kovalev. Then we'll really know how good. Andre Ward. Then we'll know how good he is. But it was very difficult to judge him on that performance. I think it was a good fighter against a guy that was way past his best.
Yves Amar has tweeted in, Gervonta Davis looked average. How did he miss the weight? Spencer, you can start.
Listen to me on this, and I want Gervonta Davis, because I know you watched the show, because you've retweeted a couple times. Listen to me. Gervonta Davis, do not become Adrian Broner. Don't become him, because you see Adrian Broner become a 4-weight world champion. You think that's all great. Don't be content with the laurels that you're getting right now, or the pats on the back that you're getting, or like you're Floyd Mayweather's main boy. And Floyd, forget all of that, because your skills are incredible, and if you don't live it, trust me, you lose it. So all I'm saying to this guy here is, like, you missed the weight, ignorance. But the mere fact that he turned around afterwards and apologized to everybody, I think, okay, well, maybe there's a bit of a saving grace with you. You're not so egotistical about the thing. But seriously, he's got to fix up.
And I think also what happened afterwards with the big boos that he was getting really surprised him. You saw the expression on his face. He couldn't work out that he was actually getting booed. I think that what he done was he misjudged everything. He's won the title. He's a young kid. He's still learning. Only 22 years of age. He could clearly still make the weight. We could see that in his body frame. We could see that he wasn't tight at the weight or anything. He's misjudged that. Then his performance as well was very strange as well. You know, this is a guy with bags and bags. Yeah, but his bags and bags of talent. He went in there, and the ending was very strange as well. He hit the guy when he was on the floor. The crowd booed him, and I think that might be the kick up the backside that he needed. And I'm hoping he doesn't go down the Broner route and think that he's some sort of superstar, because the kids that keep their feet on the ground are the ones that normally propel.
Thank you very much.
Great note to end it on. So my thanks to the two Spencers today. Tune in next week for more #Toe-to-Toe, or check out iTunes for the podcast.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.